The switch statement can have as many alternative results as you can type in. Here's the pseudocode structure for a switch. The switch analyzes the weather and says, if snow, then we'll make a snowman, and then we're done deciding. But if it's not snow, if the answer is rain for weather, then the result is play inside. If it's not snow or rain, then we'll just play ball. Here we see the general construct for a switch statement. Next to the switch, we're going to put the value being tested, and then case shows the possible value, and then the code that you want to run if that possible value is matched. And you can list as many of those as possible. The default code is an optional piece of code for if the value being tested does not match any of the cases. The switch statement can have as many alternative results as you can type. Okay, let's create a new project. And let's go File, New Project. Make sure it's a console application for C#. It's in the Joe's Pros folder of the C drive. And we'll call it ch3b. Say OK. And there's our codes to start us off. Okay, let's take a look at this piece of code right here. The first 5 lines are just to display a bit of text to the screen. The first 4 use the writeLine command so that each line has a termination at the end, kind of like a carriage return. Moving the cursor down, readying it for each next line. However, the 5th line of code just uses a write command and doesn't drop a line. So when it finishes saying what it needs to say, the cursor stays at the right of the input instead of below it. The next line is our normal line for getting input from the user into a variable of integer. In this case, the variable is called myChoice. However, notice that instead of defining this variable at the top of the program, as we've done in the past, this time I put the declaration directly onto the beginning of the line. Once we have the user's input, we print out a parallel line. Not very exciting yet. Let's turn their numeric choice into the food item they picked by using a switch statement. Okay, let's start off with the keyword switch, a set of parentheses, and put in the variable myChoice. This is the value that we're going to test against. Think of this value as what would come after the left-hand side of an equal sign if this were the normal if condition. Now the next part, the switch, needs a code block, so we have a set of curly brackets, and it will contain one or more case statements followed by an optional default statement. Let's do our first condition by typing case1 : this is choice 1 if the user typed in 1. If that's the case, we'll put console.write and we'll say coffee. Then we can break out of the switch block since we're done deciding. We know it's coffee. All right, let's put in the second condition in, which is case2 : and then we'll type console.write, and that choice is tea. And if that's the correct choice, then we don't need to decide again, so we put a break. Each case statement is like the right-hand side of the is equal to operator in the normal if statement. Okay, let's add choice number 3, which is case, a value of 3, : and then use the writeLine method to say hot chocolate. And we'll add our break for choice 3. So what this ends up comparing is the fixed value for choices 1, 2, and 3 to whatever is inside the myChoice variable. If it matches, then we execute the next set of lines until we come to a break command. The break command tells the compiler to stop processing the rest of the case statements and instead jump to the ending curly bracket, which contains the guts of the switch command. Now, if the user picks a choice that doesn't exist in one of the cases, then it would be nice to have a default, which in this case we will use a console write and say hot drink. Now after the final default break, it will jump past the bracket, and we'll put a final salutation which applies to everybody, where we will say console writeLine And in there, we're going to say, please enjoy. So no matter what drink they chose, we wish them to enjoy their drink. Let's run this, and let's choose one for coffee. And as we hit enter, notice it says, thank you, here's your coffee, please enjoy. Now let's run this one more time and use a selection that doesn't exist, like 5. And it says, thank you, here's your hot drink, please enjoy. That's the default choice, since it didn't match one of our cases. On this topic, there's one more operator, the ternary operator. In essence, this is a very, and I mean very, shortened style of the basic if-then-else process to just one statement in one line. The pseudocode for this ternary operator looks like this. With the ternary operator, the condition is checked. If it's true, then this first value is assigned x, and if it's false, then this value is assigned to x, or whatever variable name you've chosen. Unlike the full if statement, which can contain blocks of code with either the if result or the else result area, the ternary operator simply returns a value depending upon the condition. Unlike the full if statement, which can contain blocks of code within either the if result or the else result area, the ternary operator simply returns a value depending upon the condition. Time for Chapter 3.2, Skill Check 1. Take a moment to pause this video and challenge yourself to do this skill check. Now try to do Skill Check 2. Now try to do Skill Check 3. That will do it for Chapter 3.2 on Decisions with Switch. What do we got next? Chapter 4.1, Binary Operators.